Once upon a time, in a quiet village, there lived a wandering traveler named Ryurisan. He had traveled all over the world, visiting many places and meeting many people. But tonight was a special night for him. It was the night he returned home after a long journey. Ryurisan lived in a small house at the edge of the village. His home was nestled within a vast forest, providing a peaceful and serene environment. Inside his house, there was a large fireplace and a plush bed, perfect for easing the weariness from his travels. As soon as he returned home, he lit the fire in the fireplace and settled into a comfortable chair. Outside, the night enveloped the world in darkness, with stars twinkling in the sky. Ryurisan gazed out the window, reflecting on his journey so far. He had crossed mountains, forded rivers, and traversed expansive deserts. Each adventure was a cherished memory for him. As he sat by the fire, Ryurisan slowly closed his eyes. The gentle sounds of the forest filled his ears, bringing a sense of calm. He took a deep breath, feeling grateful for the day's events. He was thankful to be home, to have a warm bed waiting for him, and to experience a peaceful night. Suddenly, a small fairy appeared before him. The fairy smiled kindly at Ryurisan and said, "You have done well, Ryurisan. Your journey has been truly remarkable. Tonight, rest well." The fairy's voice was like a whispering breeze, bringing tranquility to Ryurisan's heart. Ryurisan lay down on his soft bed, wrapping himself in a warm blanket. His heart was filled with peace, and he felt the weariness of his body melt away. The moon shone brightly outside, its light gently illuminating the room. With his eyes closed, Ryurisan drifted into a deep sleep. In his dreams, the landscapes of his travels unfolded before him, and he felt as if he were once again on an adventure. But this time, his heart was filled with peace and serenity. The first place Ryurisan visited on his journey was a small village surrounded by distant mountains. This village was enveloped in beautiful nature, offering picturesque scenes throughout the seasons. In spring, cherry blossoms bloomed magnificently. In summer, lush greenery spread. In autumn, vibrant foliage adorned the landscape, and in winter, a snowy wonderland prevailed. Ryurisan arrived at the village at the end of spring, just as summer was beginning. At the entrance of the village stood a large cherry tree, still holding onto a few blossoms. Ryurisan took a rest under the cherry tree, admiring the beautiful scenery. As he rested, he noticed children playing nearby. They were running around joyfully, their laughter filling the air. Ryurisan felt his heart warm at the sight and waved to the children as he approached them. "Hello there. What are you all doing?" Ryurisan asked gently. The children smiled and replied, "Hello, mister. We're playing tag. Would you like to join us?" Their innocent smiles made Ryurisan smile as well. "Thank you, but I'm on a journey. Could I talk with you for a bit instead?" Ryurisan said. The children, curious and eager, gathered around him. "A journey? Where did you come from?" one of the children asked. Ryurisan began to tell the children about the distant lands he had visited, the mountains he had crossed, the rivers he had forded, and the vast deserts he had walked through. The children's eyes sparkled with wonder as they listened to his tales. "Wow! You're really an adventurer, aren't you, mister?" the children exclaimed with excitement. At that moment, the village adults noticed Ryurisan and approached him. "Hello. Are you the traveler who arrived in our village?" one of the adults asked. Ryurisan nodded. "Yes, I am. I have come a long way and decided to stop in your beautiful village." The adults welcomed Ryurisan and guided him to the village square, where people were enjoying a tranquil day. Ryurisan greeted the villagers and expressed his gratitude for their warm hospitality. That evening, Ryurisan met the village elder. The elder asked Ryurisan about his journey and why he had come to the village. Ryurisan shared his past, the family he had lost, and the journey he had embarked on to find peace. The elder listened intently, nodding quietly. "You have endured much hardship. Yet, I sense a strength and kindness in your heart," the elder said. He then invited Ryurisan to stay in the village and find solace. Ryurisan agreed, and thus began his new life in the village, helping with farming and household chores. Through interactions with the villagers, he began to heal and find hope for his future. The villagers treated Ryurisan like family, welcoming him with open arms. Years passed, and Ryurisan lived happily as a member of the village. He healed from the scars of war and built a new life. However, the sorrow of losing his family always remained in his heart. It was a pain that never fully faded. One day, Ryurisan sat alone at the edge of the village, watching the sunset. As he reflected on his journey, the village elder approached him. "Ryurisan, perhaps it is time for you to embark on a new adventure," the elder suggested. Ryurisan was surprised but understood the wisdom in the elder's words. Ryurisan decided to continue his journey and bid farewell to the villagers. He did not know what awaited him, but he was determined to overcome his sorrow and forge a new future. The villagers offered words of encouragement and prayed for his safe travels. Ryurisan was filled with gratitude, shaking hands with the villagers and promising to return. "I will come back. Please stay well until then," Ryurisan said sincerely before setting off once again. Ryurisan's new journey was filled with unknown adventures and new encounters. He traversed vast plains, ventured through dense forests, and climbed high mountains. Despite facing numerous challenges and trials, his heart remained filled with hope and courage. One day, Ryurisan arrived at the edge of a beautiful lake. The water was crystal clear, surrounded by vibrant flowers. He rested by the lake, enjoying the serene scenery. While resting, a woman appeared. She greeted Ryurisan with a kind smile and asked, "Hello, traveler. Where do you come from?" Ryurisan shared his journey and adventures, as well as his life in the village. The woman listened with interest. "Your experiences are truly remarkable. Despite facing many hardships, you have continued to move forward. "That is inspiring," she said. Ryurisan thanked her and enjoyed their conversation. Her name was Ayaka, and she lived near the lake. She told Ryurisan about the beautiful spots around the lake and the local traditions. Ryurisan felt a sense of excitement as he learned from her. That evening, Ayaka invited Ryurisan to her home by the lake. Her house had a lovely garden, and they enjoyed a warm meal together. Ayaka shared the legend of the lake, where ancient spirits were said to dwell, bringing peace and happiness to those who showed gratitude. Ayaka taught Ryurisan a ritual to honor the spirits of the lake. The ritual involved offering flowers and meditating quietly. Ryurisan performed the ritual, feeling a deep sense of gratitude in his heart. A few days later, Ryurisan decided to continue his journey. He expressed his gratitude to Ayaka and bid her farewell. "Ayaka, my time here has been wonderful. Meeting you has brought me great joy," Ryurisan said. Ayaka smiled and replied, "It was a pleasure to meet you. May your journey be filled with peace and happiness." Ryurisan set off once again, carrying the memories of Ayaka and the lake spirits with him. Ryurisan's journey continued as he met many people and visited various places, gaining new experiences along the way. His heart remained filled with hope and courage, ready to face any challenges. Throughout his journey, Ryurisan always held on to the love and gratitude he felt for his family. Despite the sorrow of losing them, he moved forward, forging a new future. Ryurisan's journey is far from over. He continues to travel, filled with hope and ready for new adventures. His heart carries the memory of his beloved family, providing him with strength and support. Good night, Ryurisan. Tomorrow is a new day. May your heart be filled with peace and tranquility as you drift into a restful sleep. May your journey be ever wonderful. This concludes the first story of Good Night, Wandering Traveler. I hope this tale brings you peace and relaxation, guiding you into a restful sleep.